Hi everybody, terrific, tremendous Tuesday to all of you. Welcome. Thank you for watching this devotional, video devotion. Today I'm going to take from the book of Acts, Acts chapter 13. And if you have your Bible, I'm just going to read different part of Acts 13. Just follow me if you can, and we'll get down to what today's devotion is all about. It's all about the good news. That's the title of today's devotion. It's called the Good News on Tremendous Tuesday. Reading from verse 13, Acts chapter 13, verse 13, from Petros, Paul and his companion sailed to Perga in Pamphylia, where John left them to return to Jerusalem. This John is not the Apostle John, yeah? This John is John Mark, who is the relative, some say cousin, some say nephew of Barnabas, who is a relative of Barnabas. He joined them as a helper. This is their first mission trip. And when they went to Pamphylia, he left them to go back to Jerusalem. Verse 14, from Perga, they went on to Pisidian Antioch. This is not the end. They came from Antioch in Syria, and here they're going to Pisidian Antioch. On the Sabbath, they entered the synagogue and sat down. Beautiful. Paul and Barnabas, sent by God, went to the synagogue on the Sabbath. What did they do? They sat down. After the reading of the law and the prophets, the leaders of the synagogue sent word to them, saying, brothers, if you have a word of exaltation for the people, please speak. Verse 16, standing up, Paul motioned with his hand and said, fellow Israelites and you Gentiles who worship God, listen to me. The God of the people of Israel chose our ancestors. He made the people prosper during their stay in Egypt. With mighty power, he led them out of that country. And for 40 years, he endured their conduct in the wilderness. And he overthrew 7 nations in Canaan, giving their land to his people as their inheritance. You drop down, that's verse 30. That's verse 19. Drop down with me to verse 26. And then, fellow children of Abraham. This is Apostle Paul speaking again. Fellow children of Abraham, you God-fearing Gentiles, it is to us that this message of salvation has been sent. The people of Jerusalem and their rulers did not recognize Jesus, yet in condemning him, they fulfilled the words of the prophets. They were read every Sabbath. So every Sabbath, they read the law and the prophets. The law and the prophets in a synagogue. They read it, but yet they have no understanding that all their reading was pointing to the complete, finished work of Jesus Christ. As Paul says in verse 27, the people of Jerusalem and their rulers did not recognize Jesus, yet in condemning him, they fulfilled the words of the prophets that are read every Sabbath. Jump down to verse 32. We tell you the good news. What God promised our ancestors, he has fulfilled for us, their children, by raising up Jesus, as it is written in the second Psalm, you are my son, today I have become your father. God raised him up from the dead, so he will never be subjected to decay. And God has said, I will give you the holy and sure blessing promised to David. So what was the good news? The good news is not getting great ideas when you go to the synagogue or to church. The good news is not about reading the laws and the prophets and getting prophetic word of how to behave better. The good news is none of that. This is what the good news is. In verse 36, it says, "Now David has served God's purpose in his generation. He fell asleep, and he was buried with his ancestors, and his body decayed." Verse 37, "But the one whom God raised from the dead did not see decay. Therefore, my friends, I want you to know that through Jesus, the forgiveness of sins is proclaimed to you. Through him, everyone who believes is set free from every sin, a justification that you were not able to obtain under the law of Moses." Take care what the prophets have said does not happen to you. "Look, you scoffers, wonder and perish, for I'm going to do something in your days that you would not believe, even if someone told you so." So what was the good news? What is actually the good news? The good news is not how to behave better. The good news is not, you have a financial issue, then you get good stewardship principles and methods. Those are helpful, but they are not the good news. The good news is that God sent his Son, Jesus Christ, that if you and I believe in him, because you and I believe in him, we have the forgiveness of sin. That a justification that you cannot earn, you cannot gather, even no matter how much you practice the laws, you practice any behavior system or modification. All those things comes later. The way we behave better, the way we speak better, the way we grow better, the way we change comes from the inside, only after we accept the good news. The good news is not that God loves you unconditionally and that's it. No, the good news is God loves you unconditionally and sent his Son, Jesus Christ, to die for you and I, that when we believe, we have forgiveness of sins. It is not just because God loves us unconditionally and that's it, we are forgiven of sins. No, we have to believe what Jesus has done on the cross. So the laws and the prophets in a synagogue, when the Jews go to the synagogue every Sabbath, they read and they're waiting, yet they do not understand that it was all pointing to Jesus Christ. Likewise, many people goes to church, many people goes to services, and all they hear is good behavior, what I need to do, how I need to behave. Those are great, but they are not the good news. The good news is this: Jesus Christ died for your sin, was buried, was raised for your justification and my justification. And when we believe and put our trust in the Lord Jesus Christ and receive him as Lord and Savior, we have forgiveness of sin. We are justified from all unrighteousness. That is the good news. When we go to church on Sunday, and no matter whatever topic we may be focusing on, whether it's finance, whether it's family, whether it's education, whether it's job, whether it's ministry, those are good stuff, but they are not the good news. They are great teaching, but they are not the good news. The good news is this, beloved, that your sin and my sin are forgiven us when we believe in the finished work of Jesus Christ, and when we believe Him and receive Him as Lord and Savior. Start from there, and everything else that you move on, every time remember, is because you are in Christ. You actively have, you will always have forgiveness of sins in your life. Beloved, as we walk every day, we may be tempted, we may fail, we may sin, we may fall. No prophetic words going to help you to cleanse you of your sin. No healing of physical is going to cleanse you of your sin. Only Jesus and His finished work grant you the forgiveness of your sin and cleanse you once for all eternity. I believe that each day that as we reflect, meditate, and think about this good news, our heart, our life, our behavior will start to be transformed and to be conformed to the image of Christ. Beloved, the Lord bless you, the Lord keep you, the Lord make His face shine upon you. The grace, the goodness of Jesus Christ be upon you, your family, your church, and everywhere you go, your feet is shod with the gospel of peace to bring forth and bring peace to everyone. God bless you. Jesus love you. Love you guys. God bless you. In Jesus' name, amen and bye-bye.